And then we again found ourselves in England. So we said, well, we're meeting each other one time, so many. And so we said, okay, maybe there's something more to be explored here. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Thanks for sharing that. It's funny how you can, like, whenever you're supposed to meet someone, you meet them, and I always cast my mind back to just how God is such a master planner. What are the odds that you meet yourself at NYSC and all of that? By the way, what state did you guys serve in?
Then it was Cross River State. I think it's Akwa Ibom.
Akwa Ibom, of course. Yes.
Akwa Ibom, yes. In Calabar. And I served in the Kotekpene as a teacher.
And I was an engineer in Calabar. Sorry, in Calabar, yes. Yes.
So you stayed in the UK, I imagine. For how long, and what made you come to the US?
Well, I had an opportunity to join a small startup at that point in time in the Boston area. A friend of mine who was also doing his PhD in the same university in England. He had come back home. He was American, and he had come back home. He had started a firm, and I was visiting the US for a conference. And so he had suggested that I take a look at his company, and then one thing led to another. Made me an offer, and I got home and talked to Chokes about it, and we thought it was a good idea. Although it took us a while
a whole year
to finally make up our minds, and when we got here, it was a great experience, challenging experience, but also great too. So we're glad we made that step in our lives. Yeah.
Okay. That's good to know. Thank you. So usually people say when couples meet for the first time, one party or sometimes even both parties realize that this person is the one for me. What made you say yes to each other, and what was it about, this person specifically for either of you?
Well, if I can butt in and just say that, when I met him, I didn't think this person was for me.
Why not?
I was on the university campus. There were so many other people that I interacted with. So many other people thought I was their wife, and some other people that I thought was my husband, and they were not. So I didn't see it that way. And I remember even when we were in England now, that we became friends and so on. And he said one day that he would like to marry me. I said, I don't think so. You are not my type. So he said, what's your type like? I said, surely not you, that kind of thing. So every now and then he still refers back to that, and he laughs and says, oh, well, I'm not your type now, I'm your type. So different ways of looking at it. Let him tell you his version of it.
Don't tell me that you spend the next years trying to build yourself up to be her prototype.
Somewhat. Yeah. Well, when we first met, it turns out that her brother and I went to the same high school.
Oh.
I didn't know at the time, but a friend of ours, a mutual friend of ours, introduced her to me when we were, I was at University of Ife, and she was visiting a friend at University of Ife. And so she introduced us. And to be honest, my first impression was, well, this person is a beautiful person, but I wasn't necessarily thinking about getting engaged. But also, as I remind her, I felt she was a bit snobbish on that first meeting. She was rather cool. I was open and said hello and so on, but she was rather quiet, etc.
Never mind.
And I sort of remember that. And then again, we had this opportunity to go to youth service together. And it was when we got to, when we were respectively in England, and we began to spend some time with each other. We'd go on trips. We'd go on day trips on trains. We'd catch dinner at different restaurants and so on. And so we began to spend more time together. And then, we were sharing some of the different experiences that we had gone through. And yes, while she was right to say that there was a long line of
bevy of suitors,
But the good news is that I tell her and I tell everybody that I jumped to the top of the line.
It doesn't matter how you got started. What matters they are here now. And
yes, it was the outcome. So it was in our towards our final years of our respective PhD programs that I made I did a proposal, including sending a letter to her father, who was based in Ethiopia at that point in time. He was serving there in the United Nations Economic Community for Africa at that point. And, I had written the letter to him, and she was surprised by that. She wasn't expecting that her father had come to her to say, "Oh, well, I think there's a young man who's interested."
Well, he didn't say that. He said, a boy wrote to me. He said, a boy called Ibikunle. I have been, because I was on vacation, and I was spending time in Ethiopia. When I was younger, every year we would go back to Ethiopia because my dad worked there. So he said, well, he wrote to me that he likes you and he wants to marry you. My father said, go and think about it.
Wow.
And then we talked about this in a few days. He said, if you then say that that's what you want to do, may God go with you. If I say, no, you can elope and not talk to me anymore, and I need you in my life. So I kind of saw, but I want you to think about it. Or else, you say, when people come together and they get married, and they don't give it enough thought, and during the time they then decide that they want to go their separate ways, it leaves a whole load of mess, and it can't easily be cleaned up. That I remember very well. So he said, go and think about it. Pray about it too. And may God, guide you.
Sir, you're very, very strategical. You went straight to the source, straight to the daddy's hat. So guys, hint, shoot your shot and go straight to daddy, because you never know. And in these days of writing letter, maybe send an email. Actually, a handwritten letter might bump you up the list, because that part is dying. Wow, there's so much it is out of there. First of all, I think this information encourages you, so I guess I should just address both of you as Dr. Ibikunles. I didn't do PhD for Mr. Ibikunle, so Dr. Ibikunles, I correct that right away. Okay. Thank you. I think we've set the tone of just family involvement and how it's very important to make sure that comes through. So I'll segue a little bit and just ask this, like, if your kids were to describe your marriage to a stranger, what would they, truly say about both of you? Like, how would they describe your marriage?
I think what we have, some of the feedback that we have heard, either through other people that they have spoken to or from them themselves, is that they would love, at least the two older sons, that they want to they use our marriage as a reference point for for their marriage, particularly in terms of how they treat their spouses. We have two of our sons are married. One of them just had a 6-year anniversary 2 days ago.
2 days ago.
And the other one is married for over 2 years now. And so I think that was a moving theme from them, and they gave examples of that. And we had I had spent some time as a father with each one of my sons, getting them prepared for their own marriages. We had used a series, Bible study series called Every Man a Warrior. And it was helpful where we had some very open discussions with each other. And they told me very specifically, they had been observing us and they felt that we had made, and I'm paraphrasing them.
What I said, yeah. Mm-hmm.
That they felt we had made our marriage a safe place and a safe place for them. And they really respected the fact that we cared very deeply about them, but we prioritized ourselves first, right? And in particular, I would say, hey, this is my princess, this is my queen. How you talk to her, if they're being very mouthy when they were teenagers and so on, I have to have a discussion with them and, ask for respectful discussions and so on. So I think they felt that it's a safe place, and even their spouses, I think, are very friendly with us, and they are very open and really have a very close relationship with us and so on.
Wow.
So I think there will be reverberations that, hey, they see good examples here, and they see a place of safety and a place of real respect for each other, and the fact that we love to spend time with each other. We travel a lot. We have lots of date nights. We have a lot of, and my wife has a wonderful sense of humor, and so there's a lot of humor in the house too. So those would be some of the observations, and perhaps last but not least is the fact that we rely on the Lord as our frame of reference, and the like. And it's not that we don't have challenges and difficulties and maybe quarrels and so on, but ultimately we, coming back to your opening statement of 1 Corinthians 13 about love enduring, love always endures, believes all things, hopes all things,
yeah,
and endures all things, bears all things. Those are some of the themes that I think they would refer to. Do you want to add any?
Wow.
Well, I want to say that what they notice is that the home is quiet. It's not that we don't quarrel. We do quarrel because I'm a very contentious person. I can't tell you easily.
I can't tell. No, I can't tell.
Contentious, but not openly, is in the room. I can wake you up at 3 a.m. and say, we didn't finish that conversation. You say, I want to sleep now. I say, no. Finish it. Mm-hmm. So we don't shout at each other in front of the children. We don't quarrel and start throwing things in front of the children. And I'm sure for a long time, the children did not know that couples do quarrel. Maybe when they go to other people's homes, they see it. But we do quarrel a lot. You know why? Like somebody came and told me, I'm a war guy. I start war. Quite easily, and the kids can start. I say, "Oh, mom, you're trying to start a trouble again." I said, "No." So yes, but not in front of the children. I have a beef with you. I don't need to throw it out to the children and get the children all frightened and worried at home, and all that. But they know we like to go out. We go out to the theater. We go out to eat. We like each other. Truly. We talk to each other. If I bite something, I say, you need to taste it so that if we're going to die, both of us die together. Let's eat it. That kind of a thing. So the kids will be looking and laughing and say, oh, mom, are you trying to kill your husband? I said, just try to be, so that they can take those kind of things home to their spouses as well, talking to them on an even keel, not quarreling all the time.
Right.
Even because there's always trouble around everywhere.
Yeah.
You don't want to add that to, the everyday life. Just a peaceful home.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. I mean, there's so much to take out of there. I think the encouraging thing is that despite how different you are personality-wise, you've shown that, that's what makes marriage beautiful. That God can bring two different people and unite them. And I think that's really the beauty of the gospel. It doesn't matter, what your highs or lows might be. There's always that space to come together and build something beautiful. So thanks for that reminder. As you both were talking, I didn't think about this question when I was putting the question list together, but I think it would be nice to maybe tease it a little bit. Now, we know that you opened with, we know that a lot of what we know, especially about parenting or about marriage, comes from our foundation, either good or bad. So I'm curious to know, what were your models for marriage? What did you learn from your childhood or what did you unlearn from your childhood? Basically, what were your models for what marriage was going to look like growing up, if you had any?
Well, I came from a large family and a polygamous family at that, and so and I happen to be the eldest child, right, in the family. So I think the positive end was of parenthood was the sense of support for education, right? There was a great support for education, and not just in terms of going to school, but also having some exposure, being able to travel to some different places around the world and the like. So there was a bit of that experience. I think and then also there was a sense of making sure that as much as possible that the siblings felt connected, right, in some way and fashion. That I, had a connection with my sisters and brothers, irrespective of, whether we had the same mother or not, right, and the like. So those were some of the themes around parenthood that I brought to the picture. But ultimately, as Tok said earlier, I wanted to make sure it was very important that our home be a peaceful home, a quiet home, our own home. And that wasn't necessarily the case with my family. And we had to, that was a very intentional theme on our part to help our children be respectful, help them really have also a desire to pursue knowledge and education, to pursue their own hobbies, and for them to also have, to encourage them to build a strong relationship with God, with the Lord. That was important. That we felt as long as they had those frames of reference, they would do well. So that's a bit of what I brought into from my perspective, and perhaps what I chose to emphasize in our own relationship.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense now when you talked about peace in the home. Okay, I see it now. Quiet. All right, I see it now. Sorry, Ma, go ahead.
No, it's okay. I'm just trying to think. You see, I came from a home where my parents were on our streets when I was growing up. They were people who were quarreling would come to our home for my parents to sort out and beg the husband and beg the wife. So I kind of from there could see that there would be differences between husband and wives and different things. So I knew that I didn't want everybody coming to settle squabbles for us. So we would have to work some things out for ourselves. And my mom was the daughter of a pastor. So she was hospitable. You have to think of other people, no matter the problems they're bringing in. You just have to be kind, offering them this, greeting them every 2 minutes. They couldn't understand what's the point. Who are all these people? But I want to tell you that my mom died 53 years ago. And so you can imagine, and I'm number 4 in my family. So it took my dad to be quite, I commend him, but I thank God for the opportunity he gave him to bring us all together. So we, the siblings, are very close together in my family because of that, working together. So I knew that's something I had to bring in to my family, siblings working together in case anything happens. Very important. And less squabbles. If anybody offends the other person, the rest of us will help beg that other person so that there will be less squabble in the family. And I wanted a peaceful person. I didn't want somebody who was noisy or somebody who was abusive in that context, And I remember a particular brother who was like an older brother to me as I think about it, older in the Christendom. He said, Tokunbo, I'm praying for you that God would give you a father for a husband. And
wow.
How can you? He wasn't thinking of that because I was my father's pet. Everybody knew that in the house. So I looked after my father after my mom died. Looked after him and others, of course, and I was the youngest girl. But so that way I knew that I had to go out of my way to look after of the father figure in our home.
Yeah. Wow. Thank you both for sharing, your background. And you've alluded to what researchers call that intergenerational transmission. The idea that the marriage you witnessed as a child become the first template your brain files on that. This is what love looks like. Not what you're told, but what you saw. The same way your kids saw a lot of what you're doing, and they now use that as a model for their own marriage. And I think this is what's complicated for many of us, especially those raised in Nigerian homes. What we saw wasn't always what we needed to see. Some of us saw parents who stayed together but never seemed to choose each other. Or maybe, they grew up in homes where the marriage was loud and fractured, or maybe quiet and distant, right? Or in your case, Dr. Ibikunle, where you grew up in a polygamous household, where the architecture of the family itself was something you had to make sense of before you even got to love. But I love how, despite that, you took so many things from it, like, peace, and, for you, also bringing your siblings together. And I think that, you didn't bring that model of polygamy into your home, but you brought out things about intentionality, about, what you wanted your own home to be like. And I think that's the encouragement for anyone listening to this. Perhaps what you're seeing right now isn't the model you want. You can still make something beautiful out of it. God helping you. So thank you. Yes. Thank you both for sharing that. I want to ask this question. So studies have shown that couples wait many years before they start addressing the problems that they've observed from the beginning. And I alluded to that in the beginning of my introduction. I was bringing both of you on the podcast. Now, at what point did you both realize that, wow, marriage is hard? Like, this is not what I thought it was going to be, but you've stuck it out for so long. But at what point did you realize that this is hard and we need to work towards it? It requires a lot more work than you expected. When was that first time?
If I were to interject, I would say that I grew up, like I said, being very special in my home. The last girl, number 4, right? And a pet. And as young as I was, I knew I wanted to be a leader in my home or do a PhD, be a professor, because I saw professors around my dad and all that and things like that. Why did I bring that up? When we first got married, we did like each other, love each other, all this smushy. But when we got married, I found out that he wasn't who I thought he was. Why did I say that? He was more apologetic. I found out that when we had a quarrel, I could never say I was sorry. Why? I didn't know I was sorry. And I didn't know I was wrong. And he would say something, oh, why are you shaking your head? Until one day he said, after we'd quarreled was in England, married maybe 1 year plus or so. So he said, sometimes we're going to church, we're walking to church from our home, and we're walking on opposite ends because we quarreled over something small, and we're both going to church. And when we get to church, we're expected to sit next to each other in church. How is that possible? Anyway, we'll sit next to each other, and I just in my little prayers, God forgive this man for being nasty, blah, blah, blah. And then one day he said to me, we had another quarrel again. I don't know what it was. And then he said, but you never say you are sorry. I said, sorry. What am I sorry for? I don't have any reason to be sorry. Okay, sorry. He said, even the way you said it. So that's what I'm saying. It's more serious. This marriage thing is not just love. It's a lot of work. You'll be apologizing half the time. Why? So those are so that when it dawned on me that the other person is expecting me to say sorry when I have been unkind, sorry when I've been selfish, or sorry when I've kind of just had a bad attitude. He expects me to say sorry and to mean this sorry.
Yeah. I'd say it was one of the most memorable days of my life was the day we got married, and it was wonderful for many reasons. Getting married to a beautiful lady, smart, bright, with a desire to make a difference in the world jointly. There was so much hope for the future. I think one thing, however, that I noted, it was just after we had gotten married, and then we went home. We were in our marriage cab, and then we wanted to go off for a little honeymoon. And then we got home, and it just then hit me that, wow, that I was now responsible for another person other than myself, fully responsible. And that was it was sobering, but it also made me understand. And even till today, that this is someone who, as she said, she's special. I believe that, special to her family, and special to many people. She being such a warm, hospitable person to so many people, many friends, and so on. And that I had to really focus on treating her, really do my best to win her love every day, right? To realize that, and I'm not saying that in a theoretical sense, it's real, that, we always have that privilege of winning over the other, gaining her trust, gaining her love each day. And the more we do that, the better. And so that was how when we would have problems, and we did have a lot of problems, and we'll actually talk about a number of them, I realized that, look, this was going to be important work, hard work, but also worthwhile work, that it was worth it, that this was somebody that I really wanted to spend the rest of my life with. And I had even come to that decision before we had gotten married. It was actually one of the bases of me deciding to say, hey, this is the person I'd love to marry. And that was, I was prepared to say, hey, I'm going to stand up for my wife in front of my parents, and I would let them know that, I would choose her first. If there was a matter of choice, that I would choose her first. And that was a conscious decision. There were some people I couldn't say that about. But for her, I felt strongly that I could say that about her. And that was important because that was about testing the levers, especially in a Nigerian setting of marriage, right? To say, hey, this is the most important person, and I'm going to stand up for her, and you have to understand that, you have to appreciate that, and the like, and so on.
And if I can come in and say
Sure.
that,
Yeah.
you see, that was very important to me because I'd had a friend before him and other things, and I felt that he couldn't stand up for me before his family. And he said to me, my father said, don't bring just any SU girl to meet us. And so I felt so small. So for him to now want to do that gave me the confidence that maybe this would be a worthwhile relationship to think about. And, and then somebody as a family member came as well and said, hey, look at this, your wife, look at this, your friend, she's doing. So he said, well, I like her, I'm going to marry her. You would have to decide whether you want to come and stay with us and visit us. The choice is yours. But as for me, that's the person I want to marry. When I heard that, I said, okay, well, this is going to be a serious matter. Then this person is willing then to say that. Even though I had more things after that, with family, but they knew him. We don't know what she did to him. He's always citing her, but that gave me confidence in the marriage as well, that he will stand by me before then, so long as we're doing right with God, not being nasty, mouthy, or being terrible to the family members. Then we're good to go.
Wow. I mean, that is so beautiful. And thank you so much for sharing that, because in just having conversations with a lot of women, this is a critical point that comes out a lot, where they don't feel they have that backing of their husband, right? They will have to face the in-laws alone because the husband is not somebody that wants to muddle the waters, as it were. And there's a way for a woman, that lack of emotional safety really affects how they see their husbands as leaders, and that, poisons so many other wells, right? And I just wanted to tease out so many things you both talked about, and I think that's the foundation of everything we're going to get into. So Dr. Ibikunle decided that before he even got married, he would choose his wife first, even in front of the parents. That is something huge for a Nigerian man, right? And then for you, Dr. Mrs. Ibikunle, you said for you the person you had before, you knew they couldn't stand up for you, and that made you feel so small. And I think that safety that you found in your spouse, the sense that this person would defend me, would choose me, make space for me, that's something huge, and I think it fits into my next question, right? I spoke to a couple of women, and this whole issue of emotional safety, they say, one of them described it like this way, like, my husband is the last person I want to talk to when I get good news, because I don't feel like I get that from him, the excitement. Anytime I have good or bad news, I don't want to share with my husband first, because he's just going to ruin it for me. So I lean onto my community, my girlfriends, nothing, romantic or shady, just friends, like girlfriends that that they will support you, they will hold your hand. And they said they go through they don't share those good news or bad news with their husbands. They filter everything through their girlfriends first. And my question for both of you will be this: what's actually happening in a marriage when it gets to that point? And I know she's going to listen to this particular person that shared this with me. And I told her that I don't think it's right. I believe in community, don't get me wrong. I believe in having your friends, finding your community. But I strongly think there's something not wholesome in outsourcing that precious part to your husband, outsourcing that away from your husband, right? There's something fundamentally broken, that your husband is not the first person you go to for those things that should be his. You should share with your girlfriend, but the fact that your girlfriend becomes like a proxy for your husband to be providing or what your wife should be providing, I want to speak to that, and I hope that we can tease that out together. Do you think that's right? Do you think that's healthy or not? I'd like to hear from both of you.
Well, I tell you what, I think that coming to terms with the fact that I feel confident that Tayo and I are best of friends. I trust him. He's trusted his life into my hand as his wife, not just on paper and insurance and all those things. So I am important to him. And the way he talks to me at home, I think sometimes it might be the foundational problems between husband and wife, the way the husband or treating the wife at home or vice versa, that may lead to that. This is how he will tell you, I have some girlfriends that he laughs about. He says, oh, have you spoken to your lovers? And they're my girlfriends that we went to.
Lover number one.
But they're women, they're my friends, he knows. And they too, they know themselves. So I tell them when I call, I say, hey, have I spoken to my lover? They all start laughing. But there are some, they're coming to terms with it. They know their place. Tayo knows his place with me. They cannot take Tayo's place. And when push comes to shove, at night time, when we are both alone in our room, in our bed, that we need to pray and to think of things, it has to be the two of us, not them. So thinking about it that way. Yes, my girlfriend may say this or may do that, but the real decision is between Tayo and I to talk and to pray, more so as Christians. And I know my place. I know Tayo knows his place in my life. Those girlfriends, truly they're like this. We talk to each other every, I even write them letters. I send them cards. I do also. But that's not their role. That's not what God has called them to be in my life. Yeah? So I think sometimes as sisters and as friends, I advise people, it's good to have a close friend, even have a mentor, have a bigger sister or whoever. But that husband is important. Treat him well so he too can feel confident in sharing things with you as well. Not sharing with his siblings or mommy and daddy before it even gets to you as well. And then you get annoyed. And so many things spirals that way. Develop that friendship with the man. Even if it hasn't gone well before, press the reset button. Call him. Let's start afresh. Let's do this differently. Yeah? Because when things come to, the kids will go, daddy will go, mommy will go. Some of them will go away. Some will not move out of state, or some will not even be talking to us over little things anymore. What are you going to do? But the two of us still have to exist in the home. Yeah. And thrive. That's my way of looking at it. Praise God.
But shouldn't that take two people to work on that aspect? So I think another example I have, she's found that that's a big problem for her because now she's at the risk of getting into emotional affairs. And she actually sat her husband down to say, hey, I think there's something fundamentally wrong. He might also have some mental health issues like depression. Do you want to go seek help for it? And he seems very reluctant to do that. How do you move forward when a man is not willing to put in the work? Or maybe it could also be another woman. Maybe it doesn't necessarily mean that men are always the one resistant to putting in the work. But what if the other spouse is not willing to put in the work, but there's a fundamental problem? How do you get past that?
Yeah, I think to add a little bit to what Tok said, it's one thing that might be helpful for couples, because it really comes down to trust, right? To that characteristic that this person cares about what I'm about to say, what I'm about to do, and the like. And there should be good examples. I think I'd encourage people to invest a lot in their time together, right? And it can come in the form of marriage conferences. We spend a lot of time, with some very helpful conferences that has helped us over the years that we spend time, and we get a lot of that input especially about communication and about people engaging each other. I think the second thing is going back to that theme of winning each other's love each day, right, is to not stop talking to each other, to encourage each other, whether it's on about the work, even asking, just spending time asking about, how was your day, and how's that project going on, right? And really reaching out and talking about things that are important to the other partner in the marriage. I think last but not least, I'd say it's if we are going to support each other, then we have to be kind towards each other. There's going to be that notion of kindness, empathy, and empathy, right? And really being able to help each other. Even there have been issues that we have faced, in our careers, in our background, that we may not be able to tell each other immediately, right? And we keep it to ourselves. We might pray a bit about it and so on. But eventually, right, and not too long afterwards, we do. So we understand that there are different ways in which people can process items, but they have to engage. They have to talk with each other about what is serious, what is important, and care about the other person, to talk about what are they going through, what are their experiences, not for it to be surface. The more deeply engaged the items are, or the more important, the deeper the different items of conversation are, the better, right? The more purposeful, and so on. And I think that is important. And even when you have children, it's important to take advantage of that fact. That's a gift, having children and spending time to jointly show care about them and what is important about them is important. The other thing I'd say is for women, I would encourage them to really make the home, to take it, while both couples are responsible for this, but the women can be extremely influential in making the home a peaceful home, right? And because I feel that we all have a lot of pressures outside the home, lots of pressures, lots of difficulty, lots of challenges, and so on. And home should be a castle. It should be a place of peace, a place of discovery, a place of engagement, a place of reconciliation, a place of encouragement, right? To say, okay, folks can say to Tayo, okay, Tayo, I'm praying for you. Yes, go in the next day and, go and give it to them, right? Do your best and so on. That encouragement. So the deeper we have, the more important discussions that we're having around things that matter and that are not surface level, but things that are important, the better. But it involves both parties trying to make the place a safe place, make their home a safe place in which they can support each other and go from there.
Thank you for sharing that. And yeah, communication, I think is the biggest part of marriage. Communication, affects everything. The way you talk to each other, how you raise the kids, how you communicate about sex, about, in-law dynamics, about money, about faith. Communication is the bedrock, right? And earlier on, Dr. Mrs. Ibikunle, you're talking about your conflict style, like, like when you wake up at 3 a.m. to finish a conversation, and then you also admitted that for a long time, sorry was not in your vocabulary, and these are like two different conflict styles living under the same roof. And from the conversations I've been having with those around me, there seems to be a dynamic that kind of fizzles out, where the dominant spouse, maybe the one that wants to talk and, clear things out of their mind, talks more and more, and then the other spouse just shuts down, because it's like, I can't do this anymore. I think there's a word they call it stonewalling, right? And in real life, the spouse is present, but they just don't want to rock the boat anymore. Just giving. Before you know it, resentment builds in. How did both of you, given that you're both different in the way you handle conflict, in the way you have those hard communications, was there a season where you were at risk of shutting down? What are some practical tips you can give to partners who might have different dynamics at resolving conflict, but they still want to do it in a very healthy way? But it seems maybe one person has shut down, or maybe cynicism has set in the heart of the other person. The heart is hardened, and it's so hard to get out of it. What are some practical tips you'd like to provide to couples who might be going through this hard season?
That's important. I say that because, you see, Tara is a very quiet person. Besides, when I met him, when he said he liked me, I said, he doesn't talk, He comes to visit me. He's coming in he caught the train in London. He got to Reading, caught the bus to my postgrad place. I mean, that's the way it is.
But
do you know, he always had the Time magazine in his hands. So this is somebody who's come all the way, took almost 2 hours to get to visit me or more. And then he comes in, it's like a studio apartment that I had postgrad. And he sits in the chair flipping through his Time magazine. I'm thinking, then one day I said, have you come to visit me? Are we kidding? What is this now? I mean, put away this magazine, let us talk, And so he's not really that kind of a talking person. Maybe now his siblings are when they see me say, Tokunbo, you're the one who's made out to be talking now. Well, I just invited to say we're different people. It's not that I'm that much of a talking person, but I like people. I like you to be honest when you're dealing with me. I like you to be truthful and honest. I don't want wishy-wishy, dilly-dilly. I don't believe in that. More so even in marriage, it's not necessary. It brings distrust. One other thing is that when I want to talk at that 2, 3 a.m., I don't do it anymore now, because as I've gotten older, I just say, sure, move off. I'll hit him in the bed. Poof, boom, and then I go on to my own stuff. You cannot fight over every little thing. I found that out. Some you've got to give it to the other person. They too have moments that they're going through different things. And one of the things we also do, which was one of the things my pastor preached about a while ago, when there is a conflict, even with my son reminds me, is there a big issue that we need to talk about? You have 15 minutes.
Set the timer.
Not truly 15 minutes each person. And say everything that is on your mind. And that 50 minutes, I must listen. I must not interject.
Wow.
And listen. When your 15 minutes is over, then I can bring in my 15 minutes and talk. Because I found out that what it means, I must listen intently to what you're saying.
Yes.
It's not like somebody like me who wants to jump on people every 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Or he will finish his sentence too. For somebody, before he gathers his points and he says, wow, I have the answer. I'm the one that starts it, I'm the one that finishes it. So the man will just shut down. There's no need, you know everything. Go on, say it all. There's no need, and he's not lying. Yeah. So I had to learn that with time. And I had to learn to pray. And I want to tell you an example. I remember when we lived in a couple of states, or 2 or 3 states. I remember they invited me to a women's program to come and talk. Just a little house fellowship women, not anything. One of the sisters was having a baby in our fellowship. And they said, I'm not talking like that. I mean, joke with people. It's not like give a talk. And as I was praying, I was asking, what would I go there and tell them? I don't know. And they invited some friends that I don't even know about. The Holy Spirit told me and said, Tokunbo, you are the husband of your husband. I say, why? No. This man doesn't
It's Holy
talk.
Spirit self,
He says, so when you get there, go and tell the women that are in that group. There are some of them that are overpowering and trying to wear their husbands out at home.
Wow.
Enough is enough. If I give you Tayo's role to play, you can't do it well. Oh. Begin to pray for him and love him. Some little, drawbacks, love him. And I want to tell you, I have to be honest, there were like 20-something or 30 women in that day. I told them, let us type down some of the things we are doing as women. We can't even do it. Or else we drive the husbands away. There are some young girls out there waiting for them. So what do we want to do? And we're all church women. Do you know, I can't lie to you, it was a Saturday. On Sunday, one quiet brother that I've never seen, he came and met me. He said, thank you very much, man. I said, thank you very much. What has he got to do with it? The wife got home and told him what we did, some of the things we discussed, and that she was going to change. And I said, oh, really? So there are some other women like me too, very powerful. They run the man to the ground. They want to wear him out. God is saying, if the roles were reversed, I know what I'm doing. That's why I'm God and I've created you. If I give you Tayo's role from A to Z, you can't do them all. I'll be successful. So where there's snags, pray for him. He's doing his best. And every now and then when I'm trying to jump on top of myself, because I have all the answers before I wake up on Sunday, I plan Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, because it calm down. I know the role I've called you out to be. You don't need to wear yourself out. Give yourself high blood pressure. I know your role. Your role is loving person and to love you and helping to come into that as
well. Wow. So do you want to add anything to that before I go to the next question?
I think, I think the notion of truly doing one's best to truly listen to each other, right, is important in part of the communications. And sometimes playing that back, right, giving the 5 or 10 minutes or 15 minutes opportunity for each person to share, but playing it back to say, look, I think this is what I heard. Is that right? Right? That is also very, very important. And it's important to not, life is still, as they say, relatively short. And it's important that we take the moments, right, to bring the issues to the table. It doesn't necessarily mean that we have to discuss an issue at a right there and then, but it should be at an agreed upon time that we should talk about any issues that we're facing. And we need to listen to each other. And it's an important skill that is not only beneficial for our respective marriages, but even for our work, for our jobs, for our leadership, and so on. Being able to listen and listen to the voice behind the voice. What is that? In fact, also exploring what is she not saying, right? Or what is he not saying that she really means? What are the concerns, right? And even when we have quarrels, or there's a misunderstanding and Tokunbo goes quiet, which I know is not.
It's very awful.
It's not normal. I know what the issue is, but I let it go peacefully until, there's a time, right? We can come back and talk about it. But we do ultimately talk about the issues, bring the issues to the fore, and the like. And there are always challenges. The challenges around health, the challenges around finances, challenges around children, the challenges around hopes and aspirations, lots of challenges. So, and they're not easy to discuss, but they should be discussed, right? And they should be. My wife is a wonderful, as great a hospitable person she is. She's also a wonderful prayer warrior, right? And she has helped enrich our prayer lives in so many respects. Right? To make sure we're praying together as a family, right, and as well as a couple.
Yeah. Wow. There's so much to just take out what you both said. So I'll start with Dr. Mrs. Ibikunle. You were talking about when you're praying for the Women's Fellowship, and the Holy Spirit told you about, you are the husband of your husband. And then just taking that part of you and sharing it, I can't even imagine how much vulnerability that had to take to expose yourself that way. And I think that's the women, we are very adept at filling in the void. I mean, casting our mind back to the Garden of Eden and Eve taking that apple and giving it to the man, and and then the man going, it's the woman you gave me, or it's not me, or it's the woman you gave me. And I see that dynamic playing out a lot. When there's like a difference in personalities, like between my husband, I have a stronger personality. I'm more vocal. He's the quiet type, right? And there's also that temptation to just want to override and just do things a certain way. But I'm encouraged by you sharing that despite the differences, you've learned that your place is not to take the space of your husband, to support him and encourage him, but don't take his place, and let him step into his leadership role. And I know God has equipped us differently. I'm not to serve as a man, he's not to serve as a wife, but how do we lean in together, despite our excesses, and build something together? That's the encouragement I'm taking from your talk today. And it's just refreshing to hear a woman just say, yes, I used to have this tendency. Yes, it's my personality type, but it doesn't have to be what defines me. I can still learn to modulate it when needed. So thank you for that reminder, Emma. Thank you so much. Yeah. I think the next thing to talk about will be money, because we've talked about communication, we've talked about so many things. So in Nigerian, in African context, right, the financial obligation to extended family is real and rarely optional. And you guys have moved around a lot with kids. I can imagine that the obligations, would never end. But I'm curious to know, how did you build a system together that honored that without it creating resentment between you? One thing I've observed in talking to the women with me is it gets to a point where one spouse stops telling the other spouse about money they send back home, because it might end up making say, for example, I had a friend whose mom was, running into financial needs, and she stopped telling her husband because she didn't want to have her husband looking at her mom in a funny way. And by the time the husband found out, it really, caused a lot of troubles. But I'm curious to know, was there a system you have in place that honored that without creating resentment between you? Because I feel like when you do that behind your spouse, you're creating a vacuum that might put you in a very, very tricky position, because you might end up being exploited. And if your husband is not there to back you up, it creates for a very, very messy dynamic. So, but I'm curious to know if there's any practical tips you can give to families, especially with the realization of black tax and knowing that money is such a tricky situation, and the way you spend it also says a lot about you.
Yeah. All right. Well, I tell you what I like to say. Like Tao told you, he's the oldest of many. And we've been married now almost 40 years, going soon to be 39. And I can tell you that when we first got married, young people, students, they've just gotten a PhD, still trying to find a job. And then we had family obligations like crazy that I could not understand. Really? Before we even have this money, it's already spoken for. If we were not careful, our rent, I don't know, we had a mortgage, small place and food and transportation, we would not have anything left because the list was endless. Everybody, and it was urgent for everyone. So, like Tara used to tell me, beware of the tyranny of the urgent. So, over time in my mind, I used to quarrel a lot. Hey, daddy is broke again. Hey, mom is shaking the car. Hey, simply there's something about which one did you marry out of them, Lord? If you marry Tile, stay with Tile, so you don't kill yourself over these family obligations. Where I think that has helped me much. In case there are other women listening who want to know, Tayo and I, Tayo is a lovey. He can love you till you don't know where you're going. Okay, fine. All right. Love too much, But I'm a very pragmatic and very practical person. And that's why Ismail knows is the truth. Okay. We have a joint account. We have all joint accounts. I mean, we have that. But I have one small little account in the corner. He knows about it. We have both names on it. He has a card, but he doesn't know the card number, and I will not tell him the card number. Sorry to let everybody know that. But he knows about it. But I'm honest enough to say, sister or this or that needs money this month for this. Sometimes what they need money for immediately is not something that the money in that account can meet that month. We have to distribute it and still leave a little money in that account. We cannot spend all because we can't meet all the needs, and there are just too many people. And one of the things that I have done, I reminded, have you sent money to Auntie so-and-so? When is Christmas? Have you sent money to? We have a list on his side. This is the amount of money allocated to them. You distribute it amongst whoever you on your side. This is my share of the money too. I distribute it to the people on my side. And of course, that's Christmas or somebody's birthday or this, that, and that. But truly, he talks about it. So and so has been writing us again. Okay, because it cannot end. I said, I said, okay, how much did he say he needs? He said, I said, well, let's pay half this time, then pay half next one. So there's still a little money left in the account. And then it wasn't just him. There's still 2 or 3 other people that are writing. So what am I saying? Let's give each other a little bit of a leeway. Yeah? Let's see. Because I want to tell you that I love my siblings a lot, but they have their needs as big as heaven. I can't meet them all.
It never ends.
It never ends. And once you've met this one, by next 2-3 months, another big one has come, and so it's unending. So that it doesn't cause too much trouble and squabble between us. And so we still have a little money left in our savings. So we don't go begging and borrowing and be feeding everybody all over. There's some portion, give them on your side of the family, you know them more. You understand them better. Distribute it the way you think. This is the amount. Do it. And I don't need to be put, hey, is it too big? Who you wear out? Because by next month, my own 2 is coming up.
Right.
So we're not wearing each other. Like I said, I married you. Let no man put us under. Let no siblings. Let no money put us under. Let's talk.
I think early on it was difficult for us. To be honest, I came from a large family, as I shared, and felt a strong sense of responsibility to them. And early on was not always open about what I was sending, right? To them and the like. Wasn't open with talks, and so it was when she explained to me that, look, she cared about them and that this was important, and it was as if I was closing her out from something that we should jointly care about and jointly pray about and jointly support. It was that really focused us, in addition to our learning as a couple, the importance of tithing and offering and so on in our Christian lives, and understanding the resources that were available to us. I think it was that combination that said, look, I don't need to hide this. Yes, the discussions might be uncomfortable, maybe, but we should both be engaged, right, in terms of the support we're trying to provide our families and so on. Because in some cases, an aunt or a sibling might call, and I want them to have the opportunity of saying thank you.
Thank you, right? Thank you for what?
Yeah, exactly. Thank you for what.
Or do I say thank you?
Exactly. and then it all comes out. And then it becomes an interesting discussion afterwards. So the whole idea is that we should be conscious of what we're doing, and it's more helpful. It's easier. Yes, the discussions might be a bit more difficult, as I said, but look, it's the right thing in the end, so that we both feel safe about our resources, what God has given to us, and how we're able to jointly support our extended families.
These are very practical, and I think I got two things, maybe a little bit more. The one was the tyranny of the urgent. There's just that, which I'm never going to forget. And then I love what you said, that you've been Dr. Mr. Ibikunle, about how you were hiding some things from your wife, but then you realized that when she said you're actually blocking me from, almost like, I love these people as much as you do, and if you don't show me that part of it, it means that you're not even allowing me to show them the love I have for them. So let's do this together, right? I love that. And because you two have become one, right? And I guess the encouragement is that even though you weren't transparent early on, what changed wasn't a fight. It was you telling, it was her telling you that I care about them too. Don't close me out. And I think that's the pivot, and that's the encouragement here. And another wood line I like to air out that, but let no siblings, let no money put us asunder. I love that. And I think it's beautiful to see that I can manage my family, you can manage my family, but not in an individual way. There's still transparency, but I'll protect you from the messy part of it, as far as, who needs what specifically, but things that are going on, how I'm supporting them. And that way we're covering one another and we're building together. Because I see that my premise about money is whatever we earn, we're stewards of it, right? How are we using it well? At the end of the day is what God has given us. How are we blessing those around us? And if our family members are not, recipients of that, then what's the point of it all? But we still do it. We should do it tactfully. We should do it, fearfully as well. So thank you so much to both of you for showing us what that practical, pragmatic, part of it looks like. Because money is very, very sensitive and very, very tender.
Absolutely.
If I can just say one more thing.
Sure, man.
After he became a little more transparent about it, sometimes what some family members need is not just money, even praying for them. Even if I know somebody else going, say, take this, or when you get to so and so, buy fruits or buy food, buy this, take it to go and to them, not just give them money. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Somebody came, brought some money, but I am the woman, and from a woman's perspective, I say, make sure we buy some, maybe a little rice, a little oil, a little this, just a little, add that to it as well, which he wouldn't do. He would just send them money.
Yeah. And one has to be careful sometimes too, because it might start creating that spirit of dependency. Like, I can just always reach out and get money. Sometimes someone might just need connection, like, connect them to somebody that can mentor them or provide them with skills. Money doesn't always, solve a problem. It's knowing when to step in. And sometimes you just have to let people figure out their problems themselves. You can't always save them, Yeah. Oh my God, I keep talking to you for a very long time because there's so much to ask. But our time is soon coming to a close, but I need to ask a few questions. One is the impact of culture and immigration, right? You've lived in Nigeria, the UK, the US, and there's a lot of things going on around about abroad marriage, imported wife syndrome. Don't bring your spouse to America. Don't bring them to UK. They will turn around and they will show you shege. And each move you've had, I imagine they've peeled back a different layer of who you've been. What did immigration reveal about your marriage that staying in one place might never have shown you?
Yeah, I think for us, so there were some things that perhaps were a bit unconventional for us, because I spent some time. I was, first of all, born outside the country, born in England, and grew up a bit there. But in terms of that Nigerian, community, and I think what in terms of the immigration item. I think the first thing to always set priorities on is to enjoy each other, right? It comes down to almost an unrelenting desire to spend time while we're here on earth, to spend quality time with each other, right? Even if it means I'm reading my Time magazine and she's doing something else, right? But just being in the same room, in the same vicinity, right? That matters. So enjoying each other's company, and really enjoying each other's friendship, having common things that we like to do. That sort of dilutes, if you like, the aspect of immigration, right, and the like. And I encourage people, who have this problem, because I understand we have worked with couples where it has been a problem. And it comes down to this very wonderful thing that marriage is about. Let's treat like what you have, like marriage, where two people are coming together from different backgrounds, different perspectives, and are trying to create and sustain, by the grace of God, a really wonderful relationship, a wonderful friendship, a wonderful place where each other feels very safe, a wonderful place where each other supports each other. Each other we consider each other's champion. When somebody is succeeding in a place, we rejoice over what that person is doing and encouraging and, say, hey, don't you see my wife or don't you see my husband? So the more focused we are on each other, immigration just is simply a transportation where, hey, we're in a different place, but that should not prevent us from really desiring each other. Now, I understand that there might be issues, there might be some cultural issues and so on that people are adapting to. The States is very different from England, it's very different from Nigeria, it's probably very different from Korea, where you are. All these are different places, and there might be some local attitudes, right, or local emphasis that arises. But what I have seen in general is that when there's a fierce dependence on each other in true love, that mitigates, and it's a real pragmatic thing. It actually mitigates the issues, because we're really depending on each other. When we first came to the States, lots of differences, but we realized that if we pull together, right, we would be able to overcome the differences and be successful and the like. So that has always been my approach to this. Go ahead.
Well, I think that, you see, so I was born in England. I remember I was Nigerian and then went to study abroad. And then we married in England. And to walk the situation, walk the papers, it was easier then than now. Now they ask you 1 million questions. Right. But like he said, I trusted him to marry him. I want the best for him. And I believe he wants the best for me. Can he be the best of himself alone because of immigration? Because if he doesn't bring me, he will just suffer. There will be no way to be cooking for him and helping him make his bed and being loving to him. So I trust him. I love him. I see him like a part of me. They said the two will become one. How is one? Half is there, half is over there. I don't trust you in case I bring you. It's because it's lack of trust in the other person and trust in what the foundation of the relationship. So let God help us to trust each other and the foundation. Are we friends? Do you really like that person? Can you make more sacrifice? For that person. Will you be whole with that person being so far away when you could still bring them closer to you and both of you be together and work together? So I see it as an issue of trust. And I'm praying that God will help us to love, like the 1 Corinthians 13 says, because love encompasses so many things. Yeah. I can tell you that truly, with Tyra and I been very far away from each other for months, and so on. If I had the power to bring him over, or he had the power to bring me over, and I was afraid in case this, in case that, or I'm listening to so many other people around, our lives will not be rich. It will impact our children. It will impact so many things all around us. So I think it's an issue of trust as well. So we need to continue to pray for each other, that we'll trust each other more and trust the plan of God for our lives together more.
I mean, the currency is trust. So regardless of what situation, what circumstances, is do you trust this person? And if there's no trust in it, perhaps working on that foundation, because otherwise it doesn't make sense to say, oh, don't bring your spouse over. Like, you want to do life together. If you love this person, if you truly want to enjoy their company, then being far apart for whatever reason should be a problem, you know? Whatever will bring you together to enjoy your company. And if that's not the case, then find out what could be going on and then fix that. Because otherwise everything will just be like, okay, what's the point of it all, right? So thank you for highlighting that. As we round off, I want to ask you specific questions, basically about gender. And I'll start with you, sir. For men, there's a lot that has been that's on the internet these days about just how hard it is for men to be themselves in relationships, because maybe women are expecting way more than they can give, and some men find it easier to just shut down and just mute themselves because they can't give it. And there's also the issue of maybe mental health issues that men don't address in time, that diminishes their leadership at work, in the marriage. What are some, I want to say, practical tips or just advice for men to step into that leadership role that they have, to make them better husbands, to make them better co-workers, to make them better fathers, better sons, better brothers, better uncles, and all that? Like, what are some practical tips for them to step into their masculinity in a very healthy way that can make them all-rounded, better members of society?
Yes, I'd say maybe three things I would focus on, especially when you have children. It's very important that you have a very active role as a father with your children. That is healthy because you're modeling, right? You're modeling your relationship with your wife for them, but you're also building a healthy environment for them. So don't be distant, be engaged, and be open. Learn from them. I love to say that everybody has a story, right? And everybody should learn other people's story and the one where they're coming from. And so listening to the children and understanding what makes them tick and what challenges they might be facing, I think is particularly important. The second thing is really treating your wife as your true helper. Trust her as your champion. There's a lot of pain out there. There's a lot of challenges, as unfortunately Black people, Black men out there, there are certain challenges we have, and we don't need to bring those challenges to our homes, right? We should feel safe and so on, and we should be able to talk to our spouses and share those difficulties. And therefore, please be open, right? Be open to that, to the fact that you want to share with your wife, share with your spouse what challenges you're facing, including, at least for your older children, sharing with them what you're going through too, right? And so on. Because again, they can pray for you, they can support you, can encourage you, can give you tips, can give you ideas. We can learn from everywhere. And then always have a love of learning, right? Always learn, always enrich your minds, learn about new things, new ideas, new perspectives, because as men, we always want to be relevant. It's very important that we feel that we should be relevant, and therefore spending time with and gaining knowledge can be very helpful for our families, can give new perspectives, can form the basis of new advice that we can give to our family or our children and so on. What ideas, perhaps, what jobs to take on, what courses to take, and showing that love of learning is a very, very positive disposition. So those are perhaps the three things I would, and maybe the fourth, never to forget, to always, again, be extremely prayerful about what you have. Commit this relationship to the Lord, because the more you do that, the more committed your wife will be to you, the more supportive she's going to be, the more supportive your children will be. So those are some key themes that I would recommend for men.
I love that. Thank you so much. Thank you. And for you, Ma, we talked a lot about women needing to feel safe and loved, and this whole conversation has centered that beautifully. But I think there's something that we didn't say loud enough, which is men are quietly dying for respect. The kind that says that I believe you, I see you, I trust your leadership. Even though as a woman, I feel like there's a sense we can always tell that what you're about to do is wise. It's not wise, but how do you even say it in such a way that doesn't undermine their leadership? And I think with time, erode that confidence that they should have. And I think sometimes, especially for strong women, and women like a lot of, myself, or people listening to this right now, respect can be the hardest thing to give, because it requires relinquishing control. It requires letting a man lead even when you think that you could do it faster or better, which is not our place, right? But you talked earlier on about learning not to take your husband's role, about stepping back so he could step in. So I want to ask you this question. What did it actually take for you to get to a place where you could genuinely respect him? Not, manage it, not perform it, but truly give it. And what do you think happens to a man and to a marriage when that respect is consistently withheld?
Interesting. I think when the respect is consistently withheld, if I can start from there, brings a lot of conflict between the husband and wife. The husband will shut down. And I honestly believe that the issue of respect is a mutual thing. The husband must respect the wife as well, and the wife must respect the husband. It is mutual. Even though the Bible talks about love, the must love the wife, and the wife to respect the husband. They are both interconnected, in my own opinion. When I respect you, I will do things that shows love, kindness, gentleness. That's respect to me. Kindness, gentleness, patience with you, enduring, forbearing with you, which is what the Bible talks about love, which the man should do to his wife. That's why I say it's a mutual thing. And for the man to understand as well, yes, it is true that you are to be seen as the head of the home, is not to lord over the children. I mean, we have somebody said to us that his role as the husband or the father in the home, he's been undermined by his wife. And the way he was even talking, you can say, he will be undermined the way you're already talking. He doesn't. That's the way you've been treating your wife. I'm the head of this home. You can't. I know that you don't need to stress it. Live it. Don't just say it. The same with law, the same with respect. Live it out. Show it by your living. Words are cheap.
Right.
Words
are cheap. Right.
Respect me. Love me. Show it.
Yeah.
And to be quite honest with Ty, I don't know that I didn't have a problem with all this love, respect, in the sense that I just see him as you and I working together. We have an assignment as husband and wife, God's assignment, that our lives and our marriage must showcase God that we say we believe in, and we say so that our children, our community, and people around will know that this God that we say we're serving is the true God. By the way we're living with each other, the way we're relating, even our families will see it. It's not by talking and saying it, and then we defer to each other. You don't have the knowledge of everything all the time. I say, Tyler, what should we do here? And anyway, we don't call each other Tyler, we call each other Sweet. I thought I should tell you that. Okay, Sweet, what shall we do here? And he calls me, say, Sweet, do you think we should do this week? I've thought about it. I think sometimes I want to say, oh, no. Something says, let us do it the way he has said. And many times, the way he has said it was the better way. And there have been times it was the way I had said it that was the better way. That's what God has set up. So let's not override each other. We have a common cause. In the context of, we have a family. They say Taya and Tokunbo Ibikunle. That's how they will say it. They won't say Taya alone. And so we see each other as one, Mr. and Mrs. That's what God has called us to be. So the issue of love and respect is mutual.
All right.
He respecting me, I respecting him,
so
that we can work together under God's banner. Thank you.
Oh, wow. Okay, so working together towards a mission. And I've heard it somewhere said that you should run your marriage like you're running a business, set your goals, KPIs. But I mean, do you believe in that, by the way?
Not to the letter of
not
that.
To the letter, yeah. Okay.
Because I think Tokunbo said the words, it's really a mission. It's really a ministry, right? And the trouble with, as much as we love business, the trouble with business is that it can get so precise, so regimented, so focused and so on. We can draw on some of the techniques, right? The idea of sharing goals, sharing aspirations, and we talk about our goals at the beginning of the year, financial goals, things like that. Yeah. And we do check in. There are things we do to check in, with our maybe financial advisors, things like that, to help us understand where we are. But we're also very careful not to be regimented. And it's more, if we are what I've learned a lot, and I'm very fortunate, is that it's so important to have that spiritual dimension, right? And to lead with that, to think about it as a mission, to recognize it's a privilege. And we're using that and we're modeling that for many people, including our own children, but for other people, to really say, hey, this is a good thing to have. Marriage is great. It's beautiful. It's wonderful. And that tends to be the emphasis. And then we say, okay, what do we have to do around that? And if that means we take on some business techniques, we do that. But it's first and foremost that love, that friendship, that togetherness that we want to emphasize and then drive from there by the grace of God. Okay.
I love that. It doesn't have to be to the letter, but you can draw from the principles of business, like shared goals, personal development. Are we meeting this? What can I do to support you? Things like that. But it doesn't have to be, okay. That makes sense. Okay. Yeah. As we go, if you could go back to year one, knowing everything you know now, what's the one thing you would do differently? And what's the one thing you would protect at all costs? This question is for both of you. Nearly 40 years, different countries, different seasons. Sons will now have their own marriages and use yours as a blueprint. If you could go back to year one, knowing everything you know now, yes, what's the one thing you do differently, and what's the one thing you protect out? I think you already mentioned you wake up at 3 a.m. anymore.
Well, if I can start, I will say that I will quarrel less. I will say sorry more times. I would not be too moody all the time, which I thought I was moody, and could be snobbish. I don't like people, and if I don't like you, that's the end of it. I will hate you. and tell her to tell me we will go somewhere, we'll be knocking my leg under the table, say something, whereas I'll just be sheepish smile, not friendly. Now I want to be friends with everybody. Let us be friends with everybody around us and not be, so yes, I would change those kind of things. Being snobbish, being, a little selfish, not saying sorry, having my own little corner every now and then, and just open it up for both of us to share. I think I would do that differently.
Wow. Thank you for that. That's beautiful. Yeah. And you, sir?
Yeah, I think for me, it would be a lot more of a focus on driving the spiritual dimensions of our marriage, to have been more prayerful, right, about marriage in terms of where we're going, in terms of what challenges we need to overcome. And honestly, I think from everything else, I can't think of anything else I'd change, honestly. I think it's that.
Maybe write me less letters or something like that.
Oh, no, I write more love notes. Yeah, I used to. That's at home. Yes.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. And I think that the last bit of this will be, which we've talked about it, is woven in a lot of your responses. We know you are people of faith. Now, for someone listening who doesn't share your faith, what's the principle under a kingdom-driven marriage that still holds, regardless of what you believe?
Yeah, I think, I'll say this passage, Galatians 5:22-23, it talks about those characteristics, right, that hold us about having love, right, having forbearance, patience with each other, kindness, joyfulness, and so on. So those positive dispositions, because it takes a lot of energy to be negative. It saps us.
More energy.
And so that notion of kindness and joy and just this desire to spend quality time with each other and to learn from each other and to go out and discover the world together, that notion of togetherness, right? That notion of togetherness and oneness and so on, I think is perhaps that important theme that is universal. Right? That is universal. And yes, it happens to be anchored in a particular scripture in the Christian Bible, but it's true for each other. When you can be kind and gracious and just nice and so on, it doesn't take away from your leadership, doesn't take away from your being cool, it doesn't take away from your being smart and so on. They're just good things to do that can make a difference in the world, which is always what we should be doing. How do we make a real difference, a real impact that can help other people? So that would be my perspective on that.
Thank you.
As a person of faith, I think for me, it would be that there's a Bible passage that says, except God builds the house, they labor in vain. And the issue of marriage is building. We're laying, there's a foundation, and we're building on it. And there are different seasons in life that helps us to build. Some seasons we have a lot to add. Some seasons we don't have too much to add, but we're still building. And what are we building on? And continuing. And it says, except, God helps us to build it. We will labor in vain. So we still need to bring it back to God, the one that has brought us together and would like us to build a firm foundation. So when the storms come, storms of money, storms of children or no children, storms of family, storms of job, ill health, so many storms at different seasons, will it fall flat? So may God help us to build. That's my way of looking at it.
Thank you so much. Believe it or not, I am done with my questions, which is something that I had to just say, because I know we've taken so much of your time. There were so many more questions to ask. You're so wonderful. It's so wonderful talking to you, and I've been so encouraged. And I know that our listeners are going to get a lot out of this. Before I wrap up, I just wanted to give you an opportunity to maybe, if there's something you wanted to add, or just a little bit of your time to maybe add something to what you said earlier on, or whatever. Just giving you some time to conclude your thoughts, if there's any to be done.
Well, I like to say something that from a woman's perspective, I think the older I have gotten, the more I'm enjoying being married and watching the children grow up as well. 2 married, 1 yet to go, that I'm praying over every minute, and he says not to pray over him, to leave him alone. Yeah. But jokes apart, I think that if we are able as women to work it with the help of God, we will enjoy it at the end. Even the man will be begging you. He'll be making the bed. He'll be bringing you tea. But if all you've done is fight forever, he will be on his side of the bed and he will not be doing all that. But there will not be that togetherness. On Friday, it was a Friday, we went to watch on Saturday. We had some guests. We ran to go and watch a movie after we went to the theater after they left, both of us. Yeah, we shared a drink and, I came back home and ate some other things. What I'm trying to say, working it together and seeing each other. That he doesn't hate me, I don't hate him. Even ask, what do you want to eat? Me, I don't want to eat what you're eating. I want to eat something else. Yeah.
That's it.
So you will enjoy it as a woman, but you need to have laid the foundation with God's help. Less quarrel, less fighting, forgiving, forbearing, praying more, and being kind and hospitable, and tell yourself you're in it to enjoy it, not to run away if it doesn't work, because it will work as you put your mind to it. Praise God.
Amen. Yes, well, yes, sweetheart, that's nice. I think it's a great pleasure, to be married. I recognize that there are lots of challenges to a marriage. We understand that. We appreciate that. I think it comes down to this desire to rediscover those things that, for people who are facing challenges, rediscover those things that sort of brought you together very early on in your relationships, right? To pursue those, but to pursue those with respect, to pursue those things with love. And they're real. These things can make a difference. We can see that when people when they choose each other, and they choose to really prioritize each other, we see that making a difference in many, many marriages. And we are engaged in the marriage ministry in our church and involved with, and we love to spend time with couples. And ultimately, it's that a lot of what we've talked about, that notion of trust, that notion of caring, the simple things, right? The more you practice those simple things, they become real. They have a tremendous impact, and it's the simple things that make a difference, right? That can make a difference in the wedding. And choose each other, choose grace, choose love, choose kindness, choose goodness, choose forgiveness, choose patience. The more you make those choices, the better your marriage can become.
Thank you so much. Wow. I mean, you both came in today and gave us something rare, a real love story. Nearly 40 years. Congratulations on that, by the way. 3 countries, children who, have their own families, still sharing a drink, choosing each other on ordinary days. This is worth celebrating, and this is one of the reasons why I wanted to bring you on the podcast. So thank you so much for both of you, and also to Tope, for recommending you. I'm living with so many things today. Giving your spouse their 15 minutes. Let them finish. Don't interject. Don't finish your sentence. Don't even bracket. Don't think of what you're going to say next. Listen to the voice behind the voice, The other thing is beware of the tyranny of the urgent. I love that. I feel like we should just make it on a t-shirt somewhere. Every need that comes knocking will feel like an emergency. Protect what is yours first and work together with your spouse. Sir, you told us about men taking an active role as a father. Your children are watching, filing everything away. You are their first template for what, that love looks like. Choose your mom. And you gave us practical tips on how to do that. And look at your spouse as your partner, right? Distribute life together, the burdens, the decisions, the hard seasons. Stop carrying it alone. Stay curious about each other. New ideas, new experiences, new perspectives. The couples who stay connected never stop being interested in who their spouse is becoming. And Ma, you reminded us to be prayerful, to be committed, to guard what God has given you. And you also said something that I want every woman listening to hear slowly. You said the older I get, the more I'm enjoying being married. Wow. I mean, that is a promise on the other side of the work. The man bringing you tea, going to the movies on a whim, sharing a drink, looking at each other after all the seasons, all the fights, all the family obligations, all the suitcases and the migrations across countries. And so you helped us close with this. Go back and rediscover what brought you together in the first place. Pursue it with respect, pursue it with love, because those things are still real. They don't disappear, they don't get buried under life, and you can choose today to dig them back up. Now, to our listeners, to most siblings carrying something heavy right now, it will work as you put your mind to it. Take it back to God and start, rebuilding the foundation. It's never too late to start again. Despite your personality differences, you chose this person for a reason. Even if you were arranged as a partner, whatever happens, you're together in one boat right now. You don't fight when you're on the boat, otherwise you both capsize, right? You're working together. You win. Together you win or lose. So we hope you take this as a way to recalibrate your marriage and put some work into it. And if there's any encouragement, this is what 40 years of choosing one another looks like. And you can see that practicality. This is not AI. These are real people, sharing their hang-ups and everything that they have, worked together to come to today. So I'm so encouraged. And thank you so much, Malansa, for showing us what staying on purpose looks like. This has been very, very wonderful having you on the podcast. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you
for having us.
All right. I hope to see you again. But in the meantime, I cannot wait to re-listen to this and share this with our listeners. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. And thank you for
Thank you. So many blessings to you.
All you're doing.
All right. Bye-bye. Thank you so much. Bye.